Hello students, in our early lecture we have gone through the novel, the term that is the form of literature, and in our literature we have forms of studies, and these forms of studies are to be studied in the this semester or in the next semester. So, for the proper understanding of the forms of study, we have to go through some of the basic concepts related to these so called studies. So, in the general sense of the term, we have novel. Novel as we call in Marathi, कादंबरी आपण त्याला म्हणतो. There are so many novels that are published every day across the world, and these novels are very famous. Some of the novels that are very remarkable in its original content can live for years and hundreds of years together. Also, if the if the work of art is able to assert its own genuineness and it deals with the truth, or we call universal truth, or such novels, or the subject of the novel is appealing throughout the ages, it continues to exert influence on the coming generations. And all these points are always repeatedly seen in some of the novels. So that is what we have seen. There are classics. These books, these novels stands out in a classic literature, and that classic literature is very well known and always will be famous. So, Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace is a beautiful novel, and this beautiful novel brings us the socio-political changes that occurred in France and Russia. At the same time, Leo Tolstoy asserts some basic things in his so-called writing. So, when we study this, there are other novels. Lawrence Sterne, Richardson, Henry Fielding, Charles Dickens, Thomas Carlyle, John Galsworthy, Jane Austen, George Eliot. These are very famous novelists in English. D.H. Lawrence, James Joyce, Virginia Woolf, William Faulkner, Ernest Hemingway. These are very famous novelists from English origin, or some of them from American origin. So these novels brings us very beautiful novels, and technically sound, technically innovative, and at the same time they are at the helm of its highest peak of achievement, and that is what we always need to find out. What are these features that makes these novels famous and popular, and at the same time evergreen, and at the same time everlasting for the generations to come and read these novels. So these criteria needs to be fixed, and that is what it is the critic's job to finalize this. But readers means we, the students of English literature, are also the critic, are also the readers. So as a reader we have to apply some critical concepts. But what are these critical concepts that we need to apply? We have to get the training, and the training is given in the FYBA, SYBA, TYBA and post graduation. So we have to prepare ourselves to interpret the literature. कादंबरीचा असेल, नाटकांचा असेल, कवितांचा असेल, त्याचं ॲनालिसिस कसं करायचं, नॉव्हल्स कशा समजून घ्यायच्या असतात, ह्या समजून घेण्याचं टेक्निक काय आहे. आपण सुद्धा वाचक आहोत, क्रिटिक आहोत, समीक्षक आहोत. मग आपल्याला हे कोणत्या गोष्टीच्या आधारावर आपण हे ठरवायचं का ही कादंबरी चांगली आहे, या कादंबरीतील कॅरेक्टर असे आहेत किंवा ह्या सेटिंग अशी आहे किंवा याच्यामध्ये काही कमतरता आहे, हे अतिशय परफेक्ट आहे. असं कोणत्या गोष्टी आहेत, कोणत्या बाबी आहेत ज्या आपण ठरवायच्या आहेत, तर ते कसं ठरवायचं याचं ट्रेनिंग आपल्याला शिक्षण क्षेत्रामध्ये किंवा आपण अभ्यास करत असताना या कोर्सेसमध्ये मिळतं. आणि म्हणून हा एक महत्त्वाचा भाग आपल्याला घ्यायचा. म्हणून जेन ऑस्टिन असेल, हेनरी फिल्डिंग असेल, थॉमस कार्लाइल असेल, चार्ल्स डिकेन्स असतील, हे फेमस नॉवलिस्ट होऊन गेले. जेम्स रसी, व्हर्जिनिया वुल्फ, D.H. लॉरेन्स, विल्यम फोकनर, अर्नेस्ट हेमिंगवे, these are very famous novelists. As well as there are so many poets and dramatists who have reached the peak of these achievements. So, as a student, we have to study the novel. So, before going into the study, we have to understand how the novel is made of. So, the novel is made of a plot. Aristotle called it as mythos. Mythos may be in dramatic work of art or a narrative work, is constituted by the events and actions. These events and actions are organized in such a way to achieve a certain particular effect or emotional effect, and these effects that we have to understand. स्टोरी, त्याला थोडक्यामध्ये आपण स्टोरी म्हणतो. प्लॉट म्हणजे काय? कथा. कथा म्हणजे काय? तर इन्सिडेंट्स, घटना, कॅरेक्टरच्या माध्यमातून घटनांचं असं एक आयोजन केलेलं असतं का ज्यामुळे अपेक्षित असलेला भावनिक इफेक्ट, परिणाम हा आपल्याला अचीव करता येतो, मिळवता येत असतो. मग हा इफेक्ट कसा असतो? तो ट्रॅजिक पण असू शकतो, तो कॉमिक म्हणजे हास्यास्पद असू शकतो. सर्व व्यवस्थित होणार आहे, एव्हरीथिंग इज विथ द प्लॉट अँड कॅरेक्टर्स, नथिंग अनटूवर्ड हॅज हॅपन्ड. ओके. or if the plot or the character is tragic, means it turns out to be a tragedy. त्याला आपण दुःखांतिका म्हणायचं. कॉमिक म्हणजे कॉमेडी, त्याला सुखांतिका म्हणायचं. आणि म्हणून प्लॉट म्हणजे काय आहे? तर कथा असते. म्हणजे थोडक्यात सांगायचं झालं तर राजा मेला आणि राणी मेली, याच्यामध्ये प्लॉट नाही आहे. पण राजा मेल्याच्या दुःखामध्ये राणीचा मृत्यू झाला, यामध्ये प्लॉट आहे. कारण राजा मेला ह्या घटनेचा परिणाम राणीवर झाला, म्हणून राणी मेली म्हणजे पुन्हा घटना घडली. तर हे ज्या घटना आहेत याला प्लॉट असं आपण म्हणायचं आहे. सो प्लॉट अँड कॅरेक्टर्स are two necessary critical concepts that we need. दोन गोष्टी आपल्याला स्टोरीला पुढे नेण्यासाठी आवश्यक असतात असं म्हटलं जातं. का कॅरेक्टर हे प्लॉट म्हणजे कथेच्या गाडीचे चार चाकं किंवा चाकं आपण म्हणू, कॅरेक्टर्स असतात. म्हणजे कॅरेक्टर ह्या कथेला पुढे नेण्यासाठी, पहिल्या पेजपासून तर शेवटच्या पेजवर नेण्यासाठी कॅरेक्टर्स ही महत्त्वाची असतात. आणि तेच कॅरेक्टर्स कथेला पुढे नेऊ शकतात, कारण त्यांच्याच बाबतीत घटना घडणार आहेत. कॅरेक्टर नसतील तर त्यांच्या संदर्भात घटना घडणार नाही. आणि म्हणून जेव्हा when we summarize the story of a literary work, we can say that this happened, then that, like this. We can go on and we can relate with the causes. Some of the things are with motivations, and all these things, matters are rendered and organized in such a way to achieve the particular effect. So we have these types of things. So we have a variety of plot forms, and these plot, as we have seen, the plot are designed to achieve the tragic effect, and the plot is designed to achieve the comic effect. So, Aristotle, who is the father of English literary criticism, he wrote Poetics. Aristotle wrote Poetics, and in Poetics, the book, ग्रंथ आपण त्याला म्हणू, डिझर्टेशन त्याला म्हटलं जातं. यामध्ये ॲरिस्टॉटलने चर्चा याच्यावर केलेली पाहायला मिळते. सो इन नॅरेटिव्ह और ड्रामॅटिक, नाटकामध्ये असेल किंवा कादंबरीमध्ये असेल, नॅरेटिव्ह त्याला पण म्हणायचं. द चीफ कॅरेक्टर इन अ प्लॉट इज कॉल्ड ॲज अ प्रोटॅगॉनिस्ट. प्रोटॅगॉनिस्ट वी कॅन कॉल इट ॲज अ हिरो. जसं आपण सिनेमामध्ये हिरो असतो, हेरोईन असते, तर प्लॉटमध्ये आपल्याला हिरो पाहायला मिळतो आणि त्याच्या अपोजिट असलेला जो चुकीच्या कामांसाठी असतो त्याला विलन म्हटलं जातं, अँटॅगॉनिस्ट असं म्हटलं जातं. सो वी हॅव प्रोटॅगॉनिस्ट अँड अँटॅगॉनिस्ट. एलिझाबेथ बिनेट एक फेमस कॅरेक्टर आहे, जे जेन ऑस्टिनच्या प्राईड अँड प्रेजुडाइसमध्ये येतं. सी इज अ हिरोईन. शेक्सपियरचं नाटक आहे किंग लिअर. त्याच्यामध्ये किंग हा हिरो आहे. ओके, बघा, प्रोटॅगॉनिस्ट आणि अँटॅगॉनिस्ट म्हणजे विलन, ह्या दोघांमध्ये जे होतं त्याला कन्फ्लिक्ट म्हटलं जातं. म्हणजे ऑफ टू इट इज कॉल्ड ॲज अ कन्फ्लिक्ट. मग कन्फ्लिक्ट दोन प्रकारचे असतात. द फर्स्ट वन इज दॅट ऑफ अ एक्सटर्नल कन्फ्लिक्ट अँड सेकंड वन इज इंटरनल कन्फ्लिक्ट. एक्सटर्नल कन्फ्लिक्ट हे लढाईमध्ये तलवारींच्या सहाय्याने लढताना पाहायला मिळते एक्सटर्नल. इंटरनल म्हणजे जे एकमेकांच्या विरोधात कट कारस्थानं करतात. दॅट. Then there is a intrigue, okay, and this intrigue that we see, this intrigue that we see when the character initiates the action, is ignorant of what is happening. Okay, so it's the gullibility, means innocence of that particular person against whom the character initiates the action and goes on intriguing. So there are so many intrigues that helps in the traditions. Okay, so we have intrigues. At the same time we have suspense. Suspense means what is going to happen in the character, with the characters in the work of art. If the reader or the spectator is achieving some kind of a so-called uncertainty, okay, वाचत असताना कॅरेक्टरच्या बाबतीमध्ये काय पुढे जाऊन होणार आहे ते काय खात्रीपूर्वक सांगता येत नाही, अशी अवस्था जर आपल्याला होत असेल तर इट इज सस्पेन्स. So, but when we are having certain definitions, certain things, we are definite, okay, these things are happening and this is going to happen. But if the dramatist is surprising us that there is nothing that you are expecting is happening here, तुम्ही जे अपेक्षित धरतायत अर्थामधून ते इथं काही होत नाही आहे, जर असं आपल्याला त्या ठिकाणी लक्षात आलं तर अशा वेळेस इट इज डेफिनेटली सरप्राईज. सो द प्लॉट रिव्हॉल्व्स इन दीज टू आस्पेक्ट्स, सस्पेन्स अँड सरप्राईज. ओके, हा एक काही ट्रॅडिशनल प्लॉटमध्ये ह्या दोन्ही गोष्टींचा, सस्पेन्स अँड सरप्राईजचा वारंवार उपयोग जो आहे तो त्या ठिकाणी केलेला पाहायला मिळतो. ओके, ॲट द सेम टाईम या संदर्भात एम फॉस्टर, ज्याने आस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ नॉव्हल हे पुस्तक लिहिलेलं आहे, म्हणजे त्याला त्याने म्हटलेलं आहे अ शॉक ऑफ अनएक्सपेक्टेड. ओके, अँड अ शॉक ऑफ unexpected followed by feeling, oh, that's all right, असं आपल्याला म्हणता येतं. सरप्राईज एंडिंग जी असते ती पेजोरेटिव्ह सेन्समध्ये अशी असते का ज्यामध्ये ऑथर इव्हॉल्व्स द प्लॉट विथ ॲडिक्वेट ग्राउंड्स in characterization and event. So, like this we have these things. Okay, a plot is commonly said to have unity of action if it is apprehended by the reader or the auditor as a complete and ordered structure of action. It is directed towards the intended effect in which none of the prominent component parts. Another important point is unity of action. There are three unities: the unity of action, unity of time, unity of place. Aristotle, who asserted that if the unity of action is there, then the plot of the novel is compact. संयुक्त एकसंघ बांधलेला असणं. आणि म्हणून as we have seen unity of action, युनिटी ऑफ टाईम, एकाच ठिकाणी घटना घडणं, एकाच वेळात घडणं, फार त्यामध्ये फरक न करणं. युनिटी ऑफ प्लेस म्हणजे जो परिसर आहे त्या परिसरामध्येच जवळच किंवा शक्यतो एकाच ठिकाणी घटना घडणं. इट इज कॉल्ड ॲज युनिटी ऑफ प्लस. सी, again, one of the important point that we need to assume here is that this there should be a relation with the unity of action. Means it implies that the events and actions are related to a particular action. एकच स्टोरी एकच प्लॉटचा मायथॉसच्या संदर्भात घटना रिलेट केलेल्या असणं. And it is unity of action to achieve that particular aim. So, Aristotle, who claimed that it does not constitute a unified plot, but he implies that all these episodes should be strongly held together. If there is this unity of action, then everything is okay. Okay, so we have sometimes some episodes, some incidents that are happening, moving around. So, we have picarious type of novels where the plot is not organized, but it is an episodic plot. Another important point regarding plot that needs to be considered here is that a successful later development, which Aristotle didn't see anything structural unity. So, we have double plots. In this form, there is a main action, it's a main plot, main story. If there is another subplot that have been inserted, it may be in relation to the main plot. So, we have subplot. So, it's a contributory to the main story. It's another story, say, which contributes to the main plot to some respects. So, like this we have main plot and subplot. As we have seen, again a few important points that needs to be seen here. It's, as we have seen, Aristotle, who termed as the beginning, the ordered unified plot, Aristotle has pointed, is the beginning, middle and end of the plot. So, what Aristotle means is that a plot should have a beginning. Beginning, it stands for the initiation of a action. So what does it mean by? If the action moves on, which makes us look forward to something more. Middle, it assumes that what has gone before and what needs to be followed. It's at the center. We can say middle. And there should be an end. Means nothing requires more. Everything is going to complete and the plot is going to complete one. So, we have this type of things. As we have seen, the structural beginning or initiation of the work is to be concerned. See, so we have the point of say beginning, the point of attack, as we have seen, that is brought to a climax in narrative or play. For example, in the epic, as we have seen that William Shakespeare, who wrote Romeo and Juliet, which happens to be, as we have seen, it stands for, say, the street flight, and that in front of, say, the great houses. Hamlet, the drama begins with the appearance of a ghost. So, we have Shakespeare's drama. In modern drama, motion picture, we have flashback as a technique that has been adopted. Then we have certain various say so-called writers who have made some remarkable achievement in this and having such a beginning. See, then we have seen that there is the Shakespeare's analysis of Shakespeare's drama. Say the Shakespeare's dramas are analyzed to indicate how the plot is going to progress. So, Freytag is a German critic who used a pyramid, and this pyramid is used in certain way. So, we have, as per Freytag's pyramid, we have rising action. Aristotle called it as complication. So, rising action takes the story, begins with a scene or exposition, and with the ghost telling Hamlet, see in Hamlet, as what we have seen is that the appearance of the ghost appears at the window and tells Hamlet that your uncle Claudia has killed me, your father. And from this, Hamlet, his work of art goes on moving in the direction that Hamlet has to take the revenge, and it is the driving force for the plot to move forward. We have seen climax. Climax is at the point where the hero's fortune with the proof is coming down. Okay, it's a kind of a turning point. To this level, all incidents are brought to reads. Then there is a crisis, and there is some mistake on the human part, and then begins the falling action. So, we have falling action, and this, as we see, is termed as catastrophe. Catastrophe is very disastrous. It brings the death, it brings the tragedy, it brings the pain and suffering, precipitating the final scene. That is catastrophe. And we have denouement. See, so denouement, it stands for the end of the plot. Aristotle called it as a final. So, it may be called as a resolution in an Aristotle's term. So, there are many plot that involves in the denouement. We have seen the reversal, or in Shakespeare's term, peripety. So, protagonist's failure or success, as in tragedy, or success in comic plays, everything that depends on the Aristotle term as discovery. So, we have all these features that we see are requisites in the plot, or we have to understand the plot as 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 one of the main part of the novel. So, in today's lecture we have studied the plot, the first term that we study. So, you need to give your attendance in the coming lectures, and be careful. The glossary of literary terms, the book that you need to read constantly. If it is possible, get it purchased. It is readily available in the bookstores, or you can purchase and go online. So, like this, there is a soft copy that is also available. You can use that one.